I've immersed myself in an intense, full-time, hands-on workshop where a dedicated crew is tackling the challenge of building an Earthship.
Let's do this!
Chasing the milestone
We're doing this!
of getting it to lock up in just 4 weeks.
I think we're about a day behind.
I love being resourceful. It's second nature to me. That was going to go to landfill. It's a trait shared by the natural world and beautifully embodied by Earthships. Naturally, when I heard an Earthship was about to be built nearby, I was honoured when they graciously let me join in. That brought me to Willunga, South Australia, where 40 plus volunteers have gathered, ready to construct the Earthship. And yes, you heard right, volunteers will be building it, many of whom have never set foot on a construction site.
Oh yeah, cool. Do you want to hold that up for us to see, Potts?
So what is an Earthship? Well, Earthships are innovative homes pioneered in the 70s by Michael Reynolds. They are designed to thoughtfully address every essential need and more. Water, food, protection from the elements, waste, energy, longevity, and even aesthetics. Built using many natural and repurposed materials, they offer unparalleled thermal and ventilation performance. Impressed? Great, let's move on. Meet Martin Freeney, a licensed building designer with a PhD on Earthships. With his expertise and enthusiasm, he's here to guide the 40 plus volunteers through the building process.
You can see that one really moves a lot. Yeah. There's definitely an air gap in there.
What exactly are we building here?
We're building an Earth B&B, which is a tiny Earthship. It's only about 45 square meters. It's got one room does all kitchenette, bed, dining table, and in the sunroom or greenhouse, there's a little bathroom.
And the price tag? Upwards of 250,000 Australian dollars.
Many of the expenses are for the off-grid systems. So power, water and sewerage, this is batteries, panels, rainwater tanks, septic tank.
I was surprised to learn that they're not cheaper to make, but they're cheaper to run and they'll last longer. And when I found out about this build, I thought I've got to be part of it so I can learn more about it. And the more I've learned about it, the more I want to be involved with it, the more I'm getting interested in it.
Sort of, if I want to roll a tyre to someone, it's a bit hard with all these trenches. I'm not sure if we'll be able to manage it on this site, but...
Now you might be asking, what's with all the tyres? Well, these circles represent tyres. They'll be repurposed to make a retaining wall that will support the entire backside of the structure, which will be completely underground.
We don't put windows on the south side of an Earthship because there's a mound of earth.
Orientation is key to an Earthship's design. In the southern hemisphere, the sun is to the north, so Earthships are always north-facing. The sun's warmth can then radiate into the greenhouse. The entire rear of the structure is the tyre retaining wall, backfilled with earth for insulation and stability. In this design, even the roof is buried to further shield the interior from extreme temperatures and even bushfires. In the northern hemisphere, this setup is flipped. Earthships face south to achieve the same advantages.
Well, I had discovered Earthships, and just looking at the ethics behind it, the way they're built, it just spoke to me. It made a lot of sense to use waste wherever we can, but more so just the design made sense. The fires we had in the Adelaide Hills not long ago, I was living in Lenswood at the time. We had property there and it came pretty close, and it was really, we were lucky that we didn't get affected, but it was just luck on the day. It really got me thinking about long-term investment, and if we were going to build our own home, we wanted to build something resilient, energy efficient, comfortable and beautiful.
Thank you. I'd put it that way rather than that way because it's more likely to blow out on a flat edge.
Salvaged carpet is used as a liner for each course of tyres, and this will support the gravel or soil from spilling out the bottom.
It's an Australian innovation to use carpet in the construction of earthships. This arose from the use of cardboard used to line the tyres, which is typical in America. But here in Australia, because of termites, we thought, what could be something that wasn't termite food, that is, you know, something we can get out of a dumpster? And the answer was carpet.
I'm going to say that one 10 mil high.
But that also looks like...
Yeah, you can give it a bit of a tap.
So why tyres? They're an abundant global waste product, strong, flexible, modular, and incredibly durable. Filled and compacted with local materials, they create walls that are not just termite proof, but also earthquake resilient. Yeah, earthquake resilient.
So we actually built a test wall at the University of South Australia and poked and prodded it with hydraulic rams, measuring all the forces that the wall could withstand. And the conclusion to the study was that in an earthquake, they would handle those forces easily. And the other finding from that study was that the tyres are plenty strong enough for building these retaining wall systems in earth-sheltered homes.
But it gets better. The tyres are effectively entombed, so they degrade at a fraction of the speed that they would if they were out in the open. In this protected state, they literally could last hundreds, if not thousands of years.
We really need to get all these tyres beautifully aligned, because once we start putting the second course of tyres in, it's almost impossible to move these ones.
Isn't it really ambitious to try and do this in a month?
Well, I was inspired by sort of Earthship Biotecture, who regularly sort of achieve a small building such as this in about 4 weeks.
There is another folder.
It's extremely ambitious, but I think it's important to test, how much can we achieve in such a small amount of time.
No, Annie, do it. No pressure. God.
Yes! We can do it!
Come on, Elliot, your turn.
There's a lot to see, a lot to do. Recently I've realized I like doing it all with you. Take my hand, twirl me around.
The first 2 courses of tyres are filled with gravel, and that is to stop moisture from coming from the earth up into the wall.
Every subsequent course is filled with soil sourced directly from site, and this avoids transporting of additional materials to fill in the wall. One problem though, the soil here is dry, hard clay, which takes a lot of extra effort to break down and work with. And this is not what you want for a 1-month deadline.
Way back when I was a lonely soul, holding on to a heart so cold. Letting go is the only way to free myself from the years of pain.
In an earthship, the plumbing is a little bit more complicated than normal because we separate the grey water from the black water. Grey water is the bathtub, washing machine, hand basin, and the black water is the toilet and the kitchen sink.
With these systems separated, grey water is given multiple lives, maximising its use and function. Its first stop is the indoor garden beds, where it irrigates plants in the greenhouse or sunroom, a perfect match for nourishing these systems. From there, the overflow continues to a septic tank, before it moves on to its next life in soakage pits. These pits can be used to grow a wide variety of plants, depending on your local regulations. In some cases, local authorities permit an extra step, rerouting the greenhouse overflow to the toilet for flushing, giving the water yet another purpose before it ultimately finds its way to the soakage pits. This thoughtful approach ensures water is utilised to the fullest, embodying the ethos of sustainability at every step.
This one to that one. Centre.
Yeah, 1250 to
Sorry, no, that's 12.
Whilst the team work out the final details of the plumbing, professionals are busy installing the septic tank and soakage pits.
So do you think we should have, I want to put them opposite the greens. So
I think love at the top.
love here.
Yeah.
Salvaging glass bottles makes up an integral part of the Earthship's lighting and aesthetic. The process requires cutting literally hundreds of bottles in half and sticking the two ends together with duct tape.
It is time consuming. Repurposing items is better than recycling, but it is time consuming because we've got to cut them, rinse them, wash them, dry them, polish them, tape them, and then they're ready to be built with. And then sometimes we might have to go back and cut them open and repolish them because they get condensation in them, and we don't really want that in the wall.
We'll see how these bottles are used a little later. One of the unique and charming aspects of an Earthship build is the entire community resides on site. This immersive living experience comes fully catered to. Headed by a dedicated kitchen staff, the community offer a helping hand via a communal roster.
We're stirring some ginger and garlic and then some soy sauce in it, so this is just the base for the stir fry.
Oh,
and then,
amazing.
I know, it smells really good. So we're doing different dietaries as well, so we cater for everything.
I've been really stoked with the catering in particular, to be honest. I think it's so important to be fed well. I think when you're doing labour like this, 5 days a week, you need the energy, and they've done such a good job of looking after anyone. No one's ever gone hungry.
Each site takes its own approach, but here, food and the head chef's fees are budgeted from the participant's sign-up fee. Now, it's worth mentioning here that critics often take issue with the concept of sign-up fees at all, questioning why people should pay to help build someone else's home. But from what I've seen, the critique misses the bigger picture. For the participants, it seems like the experience is worth every penny.
The money it's a lot cheaper than going to a lot of the holiday venues around the place, and it's could be argued that it's just as much fun in a different way. We're coming here to learn, and if we're coming here also to share and to help build a dream for someone, then that's all about community and is really exciting and surprisingly amazing.
In fact, it's so fostering of community that participants happily volunteer up after our workshops and activities.
Anyone into breaking? Breakdancing? Yeah, I loved it. It was a big part of my life for 10 years. Would anyone want to do like a little breaking workshop?
What's really interesting and what I'm noticing helping out on this, there's a real sense of community as people try and put this building together. And yes, it is slow and laborious with tyres, but that actually gives an opportunity for bonding.
We're all living here together. It's like a big share house, and it just feels like we've got instant friends and we're achieving something together. We're learning together, we're sharing our skills and building something together at the same time.
The shared laughter, you start the day laughing with people, you laugh with them all day, and then you end the day laughing with them, and that's a perfect day, really.
We stood in the moonlight, it's something sweet. Let it wash over all of me. With you I form my company, forever close to the unknown. There's no doubts and no regret. Happy before we get another day to do it all again.
Out at the top of the sheet, you slip it under and twist it. It looks like it's sort of...
It's time to install the thermal wrap, which will help regulate indoor temperatures.
This is the insulation layer that's set off the back wall. This one, it's about 700 mil. And we're just making sure that these cooling tubes can get through that thermal wrap.
Cooling tubes are a key part of most earthships. These large pipes run underground and into the home, allowing air to take on the stable, cool temperature of the surrounding Earth. Here's how to sail the ship, as they say. As hot air rises in the greenhouse or sunroom, open windows let it escape, creating a natural vacuum that draws fresh, cooler air from the tubes into the living space. The result? A comfortable indoor temperature year-round, no electricity required. But let's say you'd like it a little warmer. Well, that's just as simple. Open the doors connecting the greenhouse to the main living space, and warm air flows right in.
So I'd just like to talk about polystyrene foam because a lot of people have issues with these on ecological builds. This is 99% air, okay? Air is a very ecological material because, guess what? It provides great insulation on your building, which means you don't have to use electricity to heat and cool your building. So it's always a compromise, okay? And it'd be nice if this stuff was made out of mycelium or something like that, and one day it will be. But right here, right now, we've got to use polystyrene. It's recyclable. And yeah, it's only 1% plastic. It's mainly air. So happy days. Imagining something like that. Yeah? Yeah. Is that what you were imagining too? So back here, we've got our polystyrene. You can just see a tiny bit of it back in this corner here. There's two layers of it, 50 mil thick. The insulative value is R3. Onto that, we've put the EPDM rubber. That's a pond liner. So just understand that you need waterproofing and drainage, and that there's basically a gap down there that water can quickly drain, because it's all about how quickly can we get water to go out and around the building. We don't want to create a dam wall and have water building up and pushing the wall over.
Each step of the process is carefully explained, giving participants a solid introduction to the skills and knowledge to build their own. So you reckon you'll build yourself one day?
Yeah, I think I'll build one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, live in one. Yeah, give it a go. I think they're downright beautiful. Loving having the idea of having a greenhouse right there. What's for dinner? Oh, what's ready? Let's go into the greenhouse and have a look. That could be fun, you know what I mean? If I would just talk about fresh, seasonal, right in your greenhouse. How good is that? It doesn't get better than that, I reckon.
Rainy days don't seem so wet. Stormy nights don't stay. From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know.
Well, here we are on the final part of the wall. How are you feeling about the progress so far?
Absolutely amazing progress. For this to be day 12 is pretty incredible. Yeah.
The paparazzi is joining in this milestone moment. They're on their 7th course of tyres. They're just finishing the last few tyres. Each tyre is roughly about an hour's work for each person. So there's a hell of a lot of man hours that have gone into this wall that you can see in front of you. It's absolutely a terrific moment, because after this they get to move on to some other fun things that are involved in an earthship build.
It's done! Woo!
Backfilling the entire structure is going to be key to the thermal performance later. In fact, combined with the thermal wrap, cooling tubes and the greenhouse, earthships achieve a remarkably stable temperature. This data from an earthship in East Augusta, WA, shows a heatwave during a scorching summer. Outdoor temperatures soar to 41 degrees Celsius or 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Now compare that to the earthship's main living space, and the temperature barely shifts. And winter? Well, let's have a look. The depths of winter drop the outside temperature as low as 3 degrees Celsius or 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet the interior remains just as steady, hovering comfortably around 22 degrees Celsius or 71 degrees Fahrenheit, all without the need for a single watt of electricity.
And when did you learn this knot?
I learned this knot just last night.
So show me.
Yeah, so it goes, hold your finger like a gun.
Yep.
And then, yeah, wrap it. I arrive here and I'm like, cool, I'm ready to learn, ready to have fun with people. Yeah, and then I came and then I realised that it's so much more than that in terms of like living in community and living just this lifestyle where you get up and you go down, you have breakfast with everyone, and then you go up and you work, or you stretch and you have fun, and then you work and you learn, and you have lunch together, and then you work and you learn, and then you do activities together. It's like, why wouldn't we just make really awesome connections and have heaps of fun and bring your best self?
What are you up to here, David?
We are providing anchorage between courses. This will then join the bond beam.
And if I'm correct, you were doing all the sharpening of these here bits of Rio.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed
It's
that.
our fine weapons maker.
Yeah.
Yes.
It felt very primal. Yeah, I loved it.
Keep a few for hunting.
Yeah.
The rebar will link to the roof later and be hidden away with concrete. And a creative way to make formwork for this section is to use mortar with repurposed aluminium cans.
We use aluminium cans mainly to make what's known as lost formwork, which is something to hold the concrete in place while it sets. And the cans are just a super simple way of building formwork on a curving tyre wall, because it gets really tricky with plywood.
I think it's probably 200 metres or something, 100 metres.
Seems we're falling fairly behind schedule. What's the plan?
The plan was very optimistic, and we've fallen behind that plan, but the energy is still there, the pace is still there. You know, the energy is high and it's all happening very quickly.
The pressure is on as the team begin the cob making process, a mix of sand, clay, straw and water that acts as a natural alternative to conventional mortar.
If you fully hydrate the clay, then that takes away that variable of how much water we need to add while we're cobbing. One of the IBCs has been soaking long enough to get a few mixes from that nice top layer.
You can take mine, Leah.
Yours?
Yeah, it's like 3/4.
Yellow, welcome to the mud pit. We get the mud and put it in the bucket, and then we put it in the wheelbarrow.
And
we put it in the wall. On the wall.
Just start running around.
What's the mix here, Brookie?
It's a 2-to-1 ratio with clay and sand and a sprinkle of straw.
Facilitate and instigate more moments like this. So James, if you have more to add, it's like rain and all that. It's very hot. Yeah.
Oh.
This way. But they're not so much. You know, then you want to come. I'd say that's probably.
I came to tell you tonight that I
Now this whole time, the roof or vault has also been underway. This literally will be carried into place later.
So the fact of the matter is that that one matters. Yep. That can actually be anywhere in the concrete.
should be as shallow as my words. And I can see how your red blood beats more than I will know.
The day to move the vault. It's a giant heavy roof full of Rio bar and chicken wire.
Yeah, we got 56 people on site today, so we're just going to try and all lift it together.
lift it up in unison, move it towards the Earthship, spin it in a 180, lift it up and over the berm, the water protection, over around the can wall, over the timber frame, and set it down perfectly in position.
Do you have an estimation of how much we're going to attempt to lift here?
I think the rumour is there's about 20 kilos each distributed amongst everyone. So
Yeah, so roughly a ton.
Yeah.
Just so that you only have to lift over that first timber frame.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. It's going to fit perfectly, and it's going to be happy days.
Once we get close to the water tank, it becomes relatively flat compared to here.
We might just have a bit of a dip, in which case Marty will start to instruct us as to what we do, but it's not going to pull apart.
Lift! Okay, how's it feel? Okay, prepare to lower, watch fingers.
How'd that test go there, Rob?
Unreal. It was like super light. Didn't even feel like we were lifting anything. So it was great. Many hands make light work.
The confidence has probably gone up significantly
very
as a
high.
result of this here.
You could hear the
test.
cheers.
Yeah.
Everyone was stoked.
Now we've just got to land the thing.
I think we'll be right. The guys, we're pretty confident with the measurements because those boys have been doing their homework.
They need to be.
Yeah, they're onto it.
Yeah.
I confess to you, I cannot rest. Let me get this off my chest. I love you. Forgive me. I hope you understand.
Who needs a crane?
Forgive me.
That is so sick.
What's your first impressions, team?
It is gorgeous. It makes it feel, it looks so small on the hill and then on the house it's massive. You just want to live it. Yeah.
The shape is fitting all the timber framing for the windows, and it's fitting on our bond beam at the back and everything, so yeah, really happy.
We were cutting these little wires. I was doing it one way and set up another station. Sol came to help me. 5 minutes into it, he said, there's a better way of doing this. He's one sharp dude. We were pulling it up this end, marking it, cutting it, and as you cut it, you had to hold the other side, otherwise it got away, and he worked out this system.
If you were to bring the wire closer, then it wouldn't spring back. So you could just put it to your line, cut it, and it would stay there, and then you could grab it and cut it again, and it wouldn't spring back. And I found that was a lot faster and more efficient way of doing it.
So you're pioneering new techniques on this airship build. That's gotta feel pretty good.
I guess so.
Sol is 12 years old. He's come all the way from Western Australia, and I think really showing everyone what a youngster can do. I actually met Sol in Western Australia when he was 9 years old on an Earthship build over there.
And how hot is it, Sol?
39 today.
How are you dealing with the heat, man?
Hydrolytes.
So at this point,
Just
go
straight?
V3 contact. Yeah. Outside.
Oh, it is also possible on the outside?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Don't want to be touching here
No.
or at the other end.
So we've got these bits of rebar here, and then it comes down and curves around, and then we've attached it there as well to make sure it's super strong.
But that's still good enough? Or not?
Yeah, that's still fine. So it's snapped up high now. Basically, spin that so it's in the middle. And if you want to do that,
I'll go again, eh? That's it.
Yes.
Success!
You don't have to worry about where the bottle's going as such. It's grab the bottle, put it in, and we fill up the little section.
People get really excited about the bottle walls, all the colours and the designs. They are really beautiful, a bit like stained glass, and they're a cheap brick.
When they go into the wall, we don't want them any closer than that. Because it's the bottom, I can kind of just load it up.
Follow me to my favorite tree. Well, I'm offering a steady hand. I could be your security.
We're all ready to go to pour our bond beam today. So you can see we've got all the reinforcing bar in for the top of the tyre wall. We've got the spikes going into the tyres. They go down about 1 metre. And then that all ties into this structure here. This is going to be a ferro cement structure. So we're putting a layer of cement and sand mortar on that, building it up to 75 thick. And this becomes our bushfire resilient roof once we've got layers of insulation, waterproofing, gravel, and finally earth covered with little succulent ground covers that are naturally bushfire resilient.
And it's not just bushfire resilient. An earthship requires an unbelievably small amount of maintenance.
I mean, the worst you're going to have to do is walk up here and pull out a weed or something, but all your maintenance really just occurs on that front face where you might have to occasionally re-oil the timber. Then there's nothing more to do here. Forever.
An earthship's greatest promise is its longevity. Whilst these homes are only around 50 years young, the data strongly points to a future where they'll far outlast conventional builds. Initially, their off-grid systems are more heavy on resources, but in the long run, the balance shifts. Conventional homes will face rebuild after rebuild, greater maintenance, ongoing grid inputs, mounting landfill waste, and all at increasing costs. And on a planet with finite resources, I'd argue that durability isn't just an ideal, it's essential.
What many of us have discovered through being here, it's like more than just what we're making. It's like everything else.
I think just getting to learn lots of new things and being with the whole community has been really great.
My favourite part is just growing with the build and growing with the community and stepping back and realising how amazing that is.
Someone said that this workshop is like half a build, half a school camp out, and then half a spiritual retreat. And I 100% agree with that.
We're into the final few days of the workshop, and despite falling behind, the team are giving it their all to finish as much as they possibly can.
And I'll take care of you along the way. My love, one day at a time, will leave our troubles behind. And you'll take care of me along the way. My love, one day at a time, will leave our troubles behind. Here
hear correctly that it was your idea to do pajamas for the final day?
Yep, sure was.
As the workshop comes to an end, the mood is bittersweet. The crew fell just short of completing the build to lock up, missing only the glass in the window frames to cross the finish line. But that detail hardly seemed to matter.
The overall experience is probably higher on the list than the build itself for me.
One of the best things I've ever done, I think.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think it was like so much more than I thought it would be.
Well, just walking down the road to go and get some breakfast at the end, it's just, there's an inner peace that is pretty rare to find. I find you get that glow after a workshop, you know, after you've seen a bunch of people come together and do something pretty cool.
I just had the best time. I'm learning so much every day, and yeah, it's just everything. The community, it just sort of feels like you don't even notice that you're building a house. People are having an amazing time, working really hard, and are really, really happy.
Our troubles behind.
With most of the heavy lifting done, a handful of dedicated crews stayed on for another week, working on the greenhouse planter beds, the bathroom entrance, interior cob walls, and insulating the roof. But work continued on site for another 8 months, including rendering, solar, windows, landscaping, and of course, finishing touches. I returned to site to see the finished product, and the results, well, they speak for themselves. Though I observed this project from behind a lens, its interconnected purpose was impossible to miss. A vision of a build designed to endure, materials once discarded given new purpose, the deep satisfaction of hard work, and the powerful bonds formed through community and shared learning.
That is so cool.
This collective journey, imagining and creating a new way of living, left me feeling the same sense of connection, hope, and possibility as those who built it.